Well, I'm told you can't hear anything. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mal, for telling us. Hi, you guys. Hi, LFT. I wonder why it's not playing sound. Let me.
Maybe it's because mine logged in. I'll log off and try to come in like under, so it's only one of us on StreamYard, and maybe, I don't know, I just see if that helps. Like come in, you know, when I do it on the computer, it puts both of us on our on the Decipher account. So if I leave, it'll keep you up here, right? And I'll try to do it then like on my phone or
yeah, I don't
come in
know
under my account.
Every time well, anyway, I may what I'll do is I will send this to you and you can share it. I'm sending it to your.
Oh, now they say you have sound.
Oh.
Oh, shoot, sorry, I'll put my thing on.
Now I have sound?
Okay. Yeah, I started to hear it right at the end, right before when we noticed people telling us no sound. You guys did the, okay.
Oh, we do what the video does. Hi, Wolfie. If you don't mind sharing it from your end, I'm really sorry. And then I'm going to send this other one over to you so we can play that rather than me fighting to try and get the sound. I'll just send it to you. Sorry about that. And hopefully that will help.
Okay, let's see.
And
is the second one the first one or the second one ours, like the one that you made?
The what? What is the question?
The link that you just sent, it doesn't in my messenger, I just see the link. Which one is like the Decipher video, like the short that you did, and what is the other one?
The first one is the Decipher video.
Okay, got it. Let's see.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. Of course, we have technical difficulties. Hi, Wolfie. Hi, Mal. Hi, Pointer. Butterfly Kisses. Thank you for being here. Tomboy Charm. Wheel. Boss Man. It is so great to have you guys here. Thank you very much. Delana. There's my friend Ange, and she's sharing us out. Thank you. That's really kind. I appreciate that. Um, by the way, if you guys love crafting and love all things crafting, go to Black Sheep Designs by Ange and check her out because she does the most incredible crafting over there you've ever seen, and she sells them. And so you need to go check her out if you haven't yet because she's super incredibly talented. Mm, how is everyone this evening? Um, we are trying to. You're about to go to sleep. Just popped in to say howdy. Well, thanks for popping in, sister friend. I appreciate it. It has been a long day. Are you doing okay? It's really nice that you still come in and hang out with us, Wolfie. We appreciate it.
Okay, can y'all? Sorry, I'm listening.
Yes,
Can
we
y'all
can see
see
it. Can
that?
you do full screen?
Yes, but let me see. Oh
There we
shoot!
go.
Is that okay for right now?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm gonna
All right,
mute.
let me see if we can hear it though. Y'all tell me.
The sheriff's office began this
We can hear
investigation.
it.
We received a
Okay. Is it too loud?
No, you can turn it up.
Okay.
the sheriff's office began this investigation when we received a phone call about a missing mother that she had gone for a run that evening and she didn't return. Mom and Pa Trail, if anybody's not familiar, is a large trail that runs through, like I said, about a 7-mile section of Harford County. This particular portion of the trail is well graded and open. Along the side of this trail, there are two large drainage culverts that run under a local highway. Those drainage culverts are hidden during the summertime by trees and shrubbery. Processing the scene, we recovered genetic material that we were able to use through the Maryland State Police Crime Lab to attempt to identify the suspect. That genetic material ultimately was entered into a system called CODIS, which is a national DNA database. CODIS contains not only known offenders, but it also contains DNA samples from other unsolved crimes with unknown suspects. In this case, CODIS was a huge break for us. And what we were able to do with that database was link this crime to another unsolved crime in the state of California, in Los Angeles specifically, which was a home invasion, is how I would describe it right now. And in that instance, that suspect left behind a hat. And that hat was collected by the Los Angeles Police Department, and DNA was located on that hat, and that DNA was entered into CODIS. I would just reiterate again, anybody who has seen anything or anybody who feels like they have information that could help the investigation.
Hold on. I'm not going to, y'all just let me copy and paste the second one while I know we have sound. So, well, actually, no, never mind. I won't do that yet. We'll just stop sharing. Oh. Sorry, I can't make my screen smaller. I can't see. Oh, can't see.
It's just a brief short video we did last year to try and explain how things were done. And now LFT tonight is going to go into depth and explain FGG, how it was used and how it's used, not just Rachel's, but many different cases that are being solved. The Golden State Killer. Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share that. I'll share my screen of that page of our spreadsheet too. Because we were just, I think we would, as Tia and I talked earlier, it was something that we just kind of wanted to recap and reintroduce to ourselves again, seeing that this is about to probably come up in more detail Monday.
I don't know if it'll be Monday, but to some point during the trial, they're going to talk about it.
It's going to be coming up. And I do think, it's very clear that the defense, this seems to be a hot topic in their opinion for them. And so we were just trying to be like, okay, let's refresh ourselves with the process, and then like in the state of Maryland, as well as what we've heard thus far via opening statements, or even potentially whatever testimony said, whatever we've heard so far within that courtroom and that's been reported. We just kind of wanted to just talk those steps out real fast and to show how Maryland applies their law, because theirs is different.
Maryland's very different, than other states. Also, let me just say that last night we had a donation for daughter number 2's birthday, and we did send that donation over to her. She requested an Amazon gift card, and that was sent over today. So thank you to those who donated to make her birthday special. She's now able to purchase whatever she wants off of Amazon.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a quick thank you for that.
Yes, she gets to add to cart.
Add to cart. Yes, she does.
Copy, paste, add to cart. Yeah, that was very nice for everyone that contributed.
It was very nice. And we did get her other things too. I just don't want to say them until she gets them. But we did get her a few other things as well. And hopefully that'll get to her as soon as possible. It's all wrapped and ready. I just didn't have a chance to do it yesterday. I wasn't sure how things were going to go and if it was appropriate and all of that. So we'll get her gifts. Okay, sorry. Did you want to share that?
Oh, she's going to put it up on. I'll share it while we talk through.
You didn't want to do the News Nation one? I know my husband's watching that too.
It's on. It's on the TV, but I have it muted. Okay, let me see. Should we? Okay, yeah, and then actually, so yeah, maybe while we do know that we can get sound, we'll go ahead and play that one.
Right.
Because to be quite honest, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't see that one until I sent it to you.
I thought it was really good.
I don't think any of this is like going to be shocking or breaking news. We just wanted to touch base on it real quick while we were thinking about it. But it turns out, only even being mentioned in opening statements, news is picking up on it, on the genetic genealogy aspect of this case. So turns out there was the little interview with, I think it was Elizabeth Vargas. And here we go. Let me see. Okay, it says share audio. Okay, share. Okay, do y'all want the captions on?
No, just play it.
Okay.
For that, let's bring in Claire Glynn, the founding director of Forensic Investigative Genetic Genealogy at the University of New Haven. Thank you so much for joining us, Claire.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So prosecutors in this case say investigative genetic genealogy helped link DNA found at the crime scene to the defendant. Does this make it a slam dunk case for Morin's team?
Well, if the DNA is matching from the crime scene found on the victim's body to the defendant in this case, then it has to be explained of how his DNA got there. Are there other explanations for it? And it sounds, from what I have read just from today, of what has been spoken about in the courtroom today, that there's multiple different samples of his DNA all over the victim and in the surrounding area. So how else could you explain his presence of his DNA on the victim's body? Now, with regards to forensic investigative genetic genealogy, that's an investigative tool. That's a method where we will explore the genetic genealogy of this unknown DNA sample, and we'll build out family trees and build them forwards in time then after going backwards in time, first to identify the possible perpetrator of the crime. but we go back to the original forensic DNA profile to confirm that it is indeed that individual that was identified presumptively using for investigative genetic genealogy.
Claire, the defense is questioning the DNA match. They say it's not 100%. So on what grounds would they be able to successfully question such a scientific process?
Well, with the DNA, I believe there's multiple different samples, and a few of them they're stating are 100%. Whenever there's other samples that may not be giving 100% match, in kind of layman's terms, if you will, that's more so likely that all of the profile wasn't amplified, or we lost some markers in that DNA profile, either through it being a very low level sample or might have been contaminated with something else. But whenever you have multiple different DNA samples on different sites and different sources on the body and on the victim, that's giving a lot of strength to the evidence.
Investigative genetic genealogy is still a new tool. And as I was researching the story, I learned the first time it was used was in 2018, which is not that to identify the Golden State Killer. Since then, have you seen it embraced by more criminal investigators across the country?
I just saw the chat. I've been listening to her, but I'm more fascinated almost at the moment by the accent. I've been wanting to say that, and I just looked over at the chat. Sorry. I was like, I love her accent.
Absolutely. Ever since April 25th, 2018, which was when it was first announced that they had found the Golden State Killer using this brand new tool, immediately after that, those investigators in that case, the prosecutor in that case, were inundated with calls from all across the United States and internationally, asking them, how can we use this tool? Will you teach us how? And how can we implement it into our cold cases? In the time since 2018, it's estimated that there's at least 1,200 cases that have benefited from the use of forensic investigative genetic genealogy. Those are all cases of violent crimes, of homicides and sexual assaults. We're not allowed to use it on, lower level crimes, and also on unidentified human remains, or as the public may know them better as Jane and John Doe cases.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to join.
No problem. Thank you for sharing.
I love Saoirse Ronan. I know. So that was just a brief kind of overview of how they use it. And I mean, 1,200 cases, that's pretty cool.
Cool. Not only that, but I think
they were able to close them out because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that. Couple that with what she just said too, and what you reported to us yesterday too. It's found on multiple places,
multiple different samples too. So we are talking about saliva, semen, touch, different types, sweat, whatever. So different types of DNA were taken and tested. And that's what's interesting. And I really like what Wheel said here. It's hair, maybe hair. Yes, actually great. Yes. I don't know. I'll get to that in a minute.
They just said essentially though that they took swabs and samples from multiple parts, physically on Rachel. It wasn't just one.
Right. But it was multiple. It was different types of DNA used, different parts of her, but different parts of DNA or different types of, fluids and, like I said, touch and, all that stuff, which is pretty interesting. And I use interesting is not really the word that I want to use, but you get what I'm saying when I say that it's pretty interesting. How does your, and I'm going to air quote DNA, get on, inside, around a woman that you're not even in the state, you're claiming you were never even in the state. Sir, I think educating, yes, thank you. educationally interesting. That's exactly right. And we'll, I doubt it.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
I'm just going to say that I doubt it. I mean, we can all be surprised, but I mean, I've heard some behind the scenes stuff that makes me think that it's going to be a tough one for them to do. But you never know. I mean, we can all be pleasantly surprised. He can serve his time there after he's done serving his time here, however that works. After his, fair, relaxing, and enjoyable day at court that he has. Yeah, for real. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you said, when you've got roughly 1,000 tips and things followed up on, even collecting forensics on that, none of that's a match. You're the one out of all those numbers. And additionally, the samples taken from the victim yours is all over there too, from different, like you said, different areas, different forensic forms of forensic testing. But then I would be on the phone with, like, the president or supervisor of the president and being like, I need some help. I'm being set up for something, because
Well, I mean, I don't think that your DNA can be in one spot and you're on video, and then your DNA can be across the country. And he's on video in Maryland too, I'm sure. Probably, hi, Lady V, welcome in. Probably, when he was working. I'm sure there's videos, so he can say he wasn't here, but he was here. Bottom line.
he was here.
There's no way to. So this is the point in our show that I'm going to mute and be quiet and listen. Hey, East Texas chick.
Hey.
Wouldn't he at least have to? No. He does not have leg restraints on. He has no restraints whatsoever while he's in court for his trial. He's in a tie and dress slacks, dress pants, and and he is able to, every time they have a sidebar where they get up and they go over to the side, he gets up and goes over with the attorneys and the interpreter, and they all crowd around a little podium and listen to the judge and hash things out, and he gets up and runs over there.
Will you talk for one more second so I can just put a little water in my cup?
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second.
So it is pretty interesting on how they determined and got Victor Martinez Hernandez's name. Oh, ow. Wow, that's loud. It is crazy. The first time I saw him, he was in chains and his jail garb. That was during a hearing, so it wasn't, I expected that. Hi, Missy. However, seeing him in what we'll call street clothes is weird. It's very weird. He takes copious amounts of notes in there. I was looking to see if he was drawing or taking notes. I believe he is actually taking notes. Oh, thanks, Lady V. And he was smiling and enjoying his day in court. It's really hard to watch. And And I feel I'm sure that I feel for the families is what I was going to say. I feel for the family and friends. Yes, he does have an earpiece. He has like like the old iPhone white wired earphones. That's what he has. The interpreter sits to the left and she translates every single word for him. Even though I wonder, I feel like he understands more than he claims to, because how do you work? How do you live in this country and not understand a lick of English?
That's really true. You don't.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, he orders food, he certainly orders drinks, and I don't know. I'm rambling to waste time.
Oh, no, sorry.
You'd like to interpret her free choice, Delina, wouldn't we all? God bless you. Oh, really? 2615, cool. You think he does? Yeah. Delina.
That he understands more than he lets
He
on.
has to.
I mean,
I
he was able.
really.
He's traveled the states. No, I was about to say, I agree with you. Like, how did he get around without travel from California to Maryland to Kentucky by simply saying no hablo? I don't think that
Kentucky.
works.
To Kentucky?
Oh, Oklahoma.
I was like, when did he go to Kentucky? I agree. All right, so this is a portion where I'm going to mute and listen.
And then correct me on whether or not I have this right. In terms
hold on
of
one quick second. Hold on one second. He didn't speak a lot of English, but he understood what the police were saying. Because when they asked him what his name was in English, he said Juan Carlos. And she said, no. And he somehow gave his password to them so that they understood it.
That was actually a funny part of that video.
So, okay. Sorry, guys. Listening ears. Go ahead, LFT.
Yeah, I am. But do you remember in that video when they were trying to unlock his phone and he was like giving a weird code, and then one of his friends came, or a bouncer, I don't know, another person in the bar came up and he was like, dude, like spoke to him in Spanish, and then it was like, here you go. So I think he was playing the whole time. That was just like a funny part. Remember that? And that, I mean,
yeah, and we can play that. We can play that. That body cam video. Maybe tomorrow we'll go through that.
Or something, because it's actually all kind of like, you should see all the officers around. They're all going, all right, man. And then he'd give like everything and then act confused. And all of a sudden, like, it took one guy over by the door and they were just like, boop, and it came in and they were like, seriously, you're telling me this isn't you? And he was like, no.
Yeah, no, wasn't me. Juan Carlos. What's your name? Juan Carlos. And she goes, no. The best is when what's her name? Delmont goes, can you smile? Show me your teeth. Smile for me like that. And he does, and she goes, nah, that's you. I love it. I love her.
You said, yeah. They go, we don't hear cuffs clink, and an officer asks, what's your real name, man? And he is like, he gives the wrong name, and LE says Antonio, and Officer Belmont says Antonio, and then he goes, who? like, and he's just shaking his head the whole time. And the Belmont turns to the other officers and says, he's lying. That's him.
Yeah. And then he admits it. He finally does admit it. It doesn't take him long. He caved really quick, which is interesting to me. But yeah, we can play that. Maybe tomorrow night we'll do that. We'll show that video.
Yeah. Sorry, that-
Okay. So FGG, tell us all the things.
Okay, so we all know that all the states can use it. We all know, actually, I'm going to share my screen and maybe we'll post screenshots of these two, like the genetic genealogy stuff on the Facebook group or something so that people can see it.
Which one are you putting? I'll do it right now.
I was going to do the DNA info and regulation. That's just kind of the broad
one from our spreadsheet.
The DNA,
Okay.
the large DNA info one, and then maybe the Maryland one.
Okay. I will do that while you're speaking.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen because the biggest thing, well, we're just going to share the whole screen. The biggest thing with using the genetic genealogy, which we all know, can you all see? I know I need to probably zoom in, but y'all,
Yes, you definitely need to zoom in, but we can see it. Yeah.
And then I'm going to make it full screen like that. Is that okay? Oh, whoop, too big. All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, I need that picture. Okay? Hold on. Yes, I need that picture, Delina. We need to put that one. Team U again. Mm-hmm. I wonder why we get all the Team U ads because I don't use that. We need to get a membership going in here. Let's hold. We're getting Team U. We're getting Team U ads.
Oh. But basically, what I wanted to point out. So y'all know how we do all of our research. So this page right here that I'm showing specifically, and we'll walk through it. It's very brief. I know it looks like a lot of information, but we can sum this up pretty quickly, just for right now, and then go into more detail, as we discuss the trial. But so this is the Maryland part. This is just relates to Maryland specifically. And then this tab is just, hold on. If you don't mind, Delina, I'm going to remove your comment for just a moment.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I got it.
Okay. And then this tab right here is basically an overview of genetic genealogy.
By the way, just so you know, nobody can read that.
Oh, I know. That's all right for right now. But I was just showing them, like, y'all know how we do our research and try to figure this out. So not only did we break it down to understand, wow, this took a long time, to understand how it's used, statewide throughout the states. But then the crazy thing is when you go to Maryland, and this is where I'm very eager to see how the defense, because it is pretty clear that defense, a big part of what they question is the DNA process and the use of this genetic genealogy. I know his attorneys know. I'm not sure that Victor knows, but after like the whole Golden State in 2018, the whole Golden State killer thing, where this was becoming, obviously more visible, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a long day. Sorry, y'all. More common, like, things were going on behind the scenes with genetics and the science, but the case that brought forensic genetic genealogy or investigative genetic genealogy to the forefront was the break in the Golden State killer case. So it was pretty broad at that point. Like, you knew that you had to have regulations and stuff around it. And you knew that they obviously proved it could be crucial for cases such as the Golden State killer and these hundreds of boxes of unsolved cases that they have. Like, now that we have these advancements, we should use this. Everyone's on board with that. I can't write it in Spanish, and I would almost send it to the poor guy to be like, listen, dude, you do realize Maryland is actually one of the very first ones, I think, along with, I think it's Utah. They embraced the use of genetic genealogy, but they were the first ones to set strict like guardrails around the usage of it, especially when it comes to law enforcement and protecting the public's, like, everyday individuals, privacy, public information and everything. Like Maryland took it a step farther. So they established, like, they have rules that some states don't have, certain steps that they have to take, and approvals that they need and how it can be used. So for them to come in to be like, are we sure y'all did this right? I just find that a little ironic, because Maryland was one of the very first ones to adapt it and provide more regulation around it. And then gradually other states followed, and it's still things that they, parts of many of the states' legislations, aspects of laws and regulations that surround the genetic genealogy, I think there are aspects of it that are still kind of rolling out. But I do think more states have protocols. But Maryland is was kind of, I don't know, right now I'd like put them on the pedestal. They're standing higher up on the steps than potentially my state, if you will, because they started enacting all this stuff, which I just think it's funny, given that they're like, are we sure? And there's no way. And it's just ironic that they would be trying to question it when you're questioning a state that actually requires more approval steps throughout the process. You know what I mean? Like, there are more rules around it.
Maryland's kind of pioneered the safeguarding of information, I think, is how we're going to, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I think a lot of people, actually, I've never done it. I think a long time ago, I wanted to do the 23andMe. I just didn't. But those companies too, that companies like Ancestry.com, 23andMe and whatnot, these closed and open companies have adapted, obviously, their privacy policies and regulations as well as things have evolved. So now, if someone checks a box, like submits, like if I submitted my DNA and I were to say, like, yes, I understand, like, this is going to be public or something. And then now that I think most of them have, you have to approve or deny their ability to use it for legal purposes. You have to acknowledge that it potentially could. And then I think some of the companies, and then it's like a sub bullet where you can opt out of it, though. I do think that is an option. Like, they don't have to share it, but you have to make sure you click it, because otherwise it's pretty much already set to just basically open. Like, once they do it, it's in there. I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting. So when ller said that they put it, obviously got the DNA, as any decent law officer would do, submit it, because you run it and you put it in the national database to see if there's a hit. And if there hadn't been a hit, he would have been the first. This would be the first time his entry would have been included in CODIS, because it's also a very violent crime. But the fact that he got a hit, I think, bolstered the state's investigators in the state's efforts to pursue more extensive measures to find out who this individual is, because now he's connected to, he gets a hit twice in 2 different states. And the reason you make it to CODIS is because you have hit that threshold. Your crime was significant enough that you warrant having your DNA in the CODIS system. So I think that certainly helped. But the difference is here is, in the state of Maryland, you how is it? You have to have like the second authorization. You can't just obviously go in willy-nilly. So when they obtained that CODIS hit for law enforcement in Maryland, for investigators there to move forward, they've got everything but a name and who the heck is the person. They now have to go take everything that they have and go before a judge to get approval. Another, essentially, like, obviously the judge signs off on warrants and stuff, but they met the threshold for being permitted to now take this, to be able to access this Victor's DNA that they had, that sample, the samples that they had to that. They've now received permission to access and use those forensic databases, especially the public ones. Is this making sense to you? So like they get the CODIS match.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets done. And I don't know, I'm not sure if y'all can, let me see if I can zoom in one more time. And I'll be sure to include all the links just so y'all know they kind of look, oh, where'd it go? I mean,
I can see it. I have it kind of big on my computer, and I can see what you're looking at. Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, so right here, and tell me here, because I'm not even going over those like first 4 steps, but like right here, in May of 2021, said the law passed limiting and regulating the use of forensic genealogy searching, and it established judicial oversight. God, that is the word I've been trying to remember for like a half hour. Thank you, Maryland, for, buckling, fastening that seat, tightening that seatbelt. So they established more judicial oversight over and create like licensing labs. You've got to use approved technicians, labs qualified to
certified. Yes, they have to be certified in this FGG.
Mm-hmm. And then as of October 2021, the law requires that law enforcement, and this is relating to criminal investigations, law requires law enforcement to have court authorization, not just a warrant supported by probable cause, but they have to have court authorization before beginning investigation using info from genealogy companies. Boom, Maryland detectives, investigators get approval. They submit it. They break this down, and none of us know. We assumed, I guess, right here, we kind of assumed that was going on, but we didn't know. There were no updates.
Yeah, correct. We didn't know.
Yeah. And like I said, y'all will post this and just look at it. Because
working on that right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm scatterbrained right now, and so I apologize for being kind of sporadic, but I really would take a look at this like by next week when they're going over it, especially since it's a hot topic for one side, or their argument at least that they think they have, in my opinion. But this is just real quick to look at, and it really does, like, obviously there's some extra protocols around it, like within, you have to make sure you've already checked this. Like if someone didn't appear in CODIS, let's put it this way, I think that would be really hard for you to be able to go in and use genetic genealogy. You would have to have a serious case. But so they do that, and now Maryland's gone in and they are using these certified licensed labs and technicians to take a number of samples of this alleged suspect, and this is where they start breaking his DNA down, and that's where they mapped out a family tree, which is what led them to Maryland. Is this making sense?
Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is.
So now law enforcement gets this information back, because they think they've created a link. Like here's what the tree is showing. You need to talk to these people. They do that, and then
yeah. So what they did then is they found some family members and went down to interview them, and turns out that he was living with these family members, and left some clothing and shoes, etc. Whatever he did leave, I don't exactly know, but and they used then that information or those items to test against the DNA found both at California and in Maryland, and it was a match.
And a big thing in Maryland too. So once they got these potential witnesses that they should go that law enforcement or should go talk to because of the DNA. Again, this is where it gets tricky, because now law enforcement has to have the law mandates that law enforcement has to you got to get informed consent, because now this is an innocent, potentially like an innocent person. This is not the one that, you know, the DNA, that the sample is not them, but it's likely a relative of them. So now they're almost considered obviously an innocent third party. So you then, once again, you have to get approval for all that to even go to them to obtain and ask for their DNA. So not only do they interview these people, if I am wrong, then I will take the next class on genetic genealogy, and I will do, I don't know, a lot having to,
right.
I think this is it. So like, yes, and then so they go, and these poor, it'd be like Tia getting a knock on her door and being like, we're looking into something that has absolutely nothing to do with her. And then she's obviously like, oh, I mean, of course, like if I can help here. But then it's almost like, oh God, I just gave my DNA and it's obviously for something. Here's the deal. In Maryland too, for those people who are not considered the suspect, once the investigation and everything is complete, those DNA, the information
samples
about those have to be is destroyed.
It has to be destroyed. Yes, 100%.
Yep.
And they have to follow certain guidelines and rules for destroying them.
And you cannot connect those people. Like if they thought it was Tia and she spit her gum out, like that's the family member we need to go talk to. They cannot collect DNA covertly. Like they wouldn't be able to do that if they did. So you can't. So you have to respect the boundaries of those public citizens, but also use them. You need them because they're going to likely be the link to, or the step in the, like the right step in the next step in the right direction. Like, and it's funny though, because not every state does this. And I swear to God, there are tons of, tons of articles out there if y'all want to read up on this. So wait, let me make sure.
Has really done her homework on this, and oh, pardon me, I'm choking. It is something that she has done months and months ago. This isn't something she just whipped up tonight. She did this months ago, and has had this knowledge base for a long time. And I don't have it, and I have everything. The other night was really funny because I was like, okay, it's like cramming for a test. I need your notes. She was like, she held up like literally 65 pages and was like, okay, how do I get this to you? And I'm like, I don't know, take a picture of them, send it to me. We finally got them scanned in and sent over, and I have them in the courtroom binder so that I can refer to them when I have a question quietly instead of raising my hand and going, I'm sorry, what? How did you get there? I have
And
my
also,
I have my
we
own
were
little
talking a
cheat
lot
sheet.
of pages. There were a lot of pages for Tia to read through.
65.
Last minute.
Yeah.
But and that didn't include the 21 where you got the title from the night before. We figured that one out. I was like, print that one yourself. Here's a big tip, guys. If you have the scanner on your printer and you've got that flap up top, the feeder, use it, because I went page, like opening the scanner, you know, like in placing individual page on there, page by page, until it was like the last 15 pages, and you were like, oh, you have a you have a feeder. It was like,
yeah, I was like, what are you doing? What is happening here? I don't understand why we're not using that. I said, my printer doesn't have that.
no, and then I was like, wow, this has been like a mighty impressive waste of time on my part, just like silly, stupid. I was going like opening it, putting the next one down where I could have stuck it in the whole thing. So y'all please do it. But yeah, so I sent all this stuff to Tia, and I think the last time we looked at this stuff was like November. Like I mean, it's been a while.
Like I said, you've worked really hard on this, so I want to make sure that this isn't like a run of the mill. Like we just whip this up. I mean, okay, let's be real. Can we whip this thing up in an hour before live? Yeah, we can. We're good like that. We've done it before and no one's noticed. It's pretty funny because we're like, everyone's like, wow, that was really great. You're really smart. The detail on that. Yeah. If you knew how fast that was done, you would laugh. This was actually well thought out and put together by LFT. And hello, Risk.
Hey, Risk. There's even an article, and it's called, y'all, how Maryland, by the way, this was scanned. You should have this. How Maryland is setting an example. I think this was back
I do have that one.
Yep. And so, like I said, a lot of this stuff, like even up here, I'm sure y'all probably saw it, but like when I said there were still aspects of the legislation that were still kind of rolling out, like right here, it says genealogists working on such cases must be professionally certified by 2024. And then I noted a credential that doesn't yet exist. And I think so we were writing this at the end of 2024.
Yes.
So I do think, okay, maybe there are a few things that they could be like, okay, well, did the governor's office produce their annual report last night or last year or the year 2023 on the number of, what was it? Did the governor's office disclose how often law enforcement accessed these ancestry databases, as well as the number of complaints? Turns out, y'all, they did not, but they're supposed to. So, but I have to say, I do think the overwhelming amount of evidence would negate, because that's not on law enforcement's part. Do you know what I mean? That's not on the investigators in this case. They didn't do that. That's like the step above them. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, the governor's office. Yeah, like, so, and detectives are going to be going, yeah, and that applies to us how? Like, we did what? But it says that Maryland is setting the example. I just think it's crazy. I never knew any of this. Get informed consent. Yeah. I can't believe that wasn't a big thing, because the big thing that set Maryland apart too was the that they had to have informed consent from all non-suspects if they wanted to use DNA. And then it's interesting how, like, well, I think anyone who uses 23andMe, y'all are still fine. I think they've set some regulations around that stuff. We did a community post, but like companies like that too have evolved as well. And I think it's actually an amazing thing when it's used appropriately. So anyway, so in terms of Victor, too much on my mind. When it comes to Victor, I think this is exactly how it happened. And I do think that they had to take every step possible and have approval because of the level of violence associated with this murder.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this is an individual who is it's already in the national system. This is a second hit. We know a profile. We don't know who he is. It becomes a public like a security threat.
Right. The crime is a commission and attempt to murder, rape, felony, sex offense, criminal involving circumstances presenting a substantial and ongoing threat to the public safety or national security.
Mhm.
Forensics sample to be subjected to FGGS and is biological material reasonably believed by investigators to have been deposited by a putative perpetrator. That's tough to say twice. And the forensic sample was collected from A, a crime scene, B, a person and item or location connected to a crime event, or an identified human remains
Mhm.
of a suspected homicide victim. That gives you a really brief, that's Maryland's 2022 Maryland Statutes, Criminal Procedure, Title 17, Forensic Genealogy, for those who are trying to keep up. We cite our sources around these parts. Oh, what are we having, Wheel? What's for supper tonight, friend?
Actually, yeah, what is?
Do you know
That case?
Hold on. Third-party DNA is sought for purpose of assisting. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to find. And I already had it highlighted. The person obtaining the informed consent shall have training from genetic counselor approved by the Office of the Health Care Quality under 17104 of this subtitle within a year after the Office of Healthcare Quality has identified and approved a genetic counselor within 1 year after the person joins the investigative unit conducting the investigation, whichever is later. In other words, get your special training, which I'm sure that they have, and I'm sure that those certificates will come into question and, be answered without any problem. Oh, pork tenderloin and Caesar salad. I'm coming over. The case in Oklahoma sure got, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. Team meeting real fast.
What?
Okay, I know. Did I just misunderstand something completely?
On
that I know, like how we were talking, we know that a judge, like you have to have a judge like sign off on any kind of warrant thing, standard, yada yada. But then there's more judicial regulation, like you have to do, like you have to have other forms of authorization if wanting to use FGG in Maryland, right?
Right.
Okay. So right here, through the Safeguard Maryland statute, which is ironic, Maryland statute significantly limits the use of FGG, better protects the privacy of non-suspects, and ensures oh my gosh, I should know my French, ante supervision of the process at every step. However, unlike similar legislation recently passed in Montana, Maryland statute does not require a warrant to search a consumer genetic database.
Hold on, let me reread it. Through the safeguard. Oh wait, go back. Where are you going?
I'm sorry. I didn't know I did that. Oh, I fell on my mouse.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, hold on. Go back.
Hey T.
Through these
Criminality, do you know this?
Hold on. Through this safeguards, Maryland statute significantly limits FGG better protects the privacy of non-suspects. Okay, and ensures the ex ante supervision of the process at every step. Unlike, this is for non-suspects. He's a suspect.
But keep going. So unlike similar
legislation recently passed in Montana, Maryland statute does not require a warrant to do consumer genetic databases on non-suspects.
So when they were able to map out that family, when they got the forensic investigators come back to the detectives and they're like, here's what we have mapped out family tree wise and where you should go look first. So they did not need to then get the judge's approval to go to, because they're not a suspect, they were just being used. I mean, like their DNA, the whole thing, that DNA, theirs will be destroyed once this investigation is over. They are not a suspect. They are a third party.
There you go. Because he's a suspect in the crime. You're talking non-average Joes. They can't just go around. What are you tangled up in your underwear over? I hear you questioning.
I know. Okay, I called.
You have this. You have this.
I got it. No, yeah. I welcome to when you have to walk through it with LFT after a long day. Okay, so y'all tell me, am I right in what I'm thinking now? They were able to get the information that led them to a potential relative or a family member, descendant, someone related to Victor. They find the belongings of Victor's in that house, and they are able to test that. Obviously, that's going to match Victor. Did they test those family members to make sure that?
I don't know.
I had that thought all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, did they?
I have no idea. We wouldn't know that unless it's talked about in court. I have no idea.
Okay, because I know, like, I just was curious. Like, they would have to have informed consent, of course. Like I said, there's no covert collection, a non-suspect third party. But I just had a thought, though. But it makes sense. I think maybe finding the stuff that belonged to him, what they were willing to give up, and based on what they said and the items that they provided to detectives, when they tested all that stuff, it matched to Victor. And that was all they needed.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sorry, y'all.
And it's also like the word, and I told you guys this yesterday. Some of the words used were quintillion, trillion, million, billions. Like this, the odds are so out there that, oh my goodness, look who just came in. This is my girl. Hi, welcome in.
Good to see you. Okay, thank y'all. Sorry, Tia. I just got confused for a second because I
knew
going,
you did. That's why I said, why did you get tangled up in your underwear? You already know this. You overthought it.
I know. If y'all gave me a test, if I had a piece of paper, like if I swear to gracious, I was supposed to look at this today and some stuff came up. So I know this like in the back of my head in general. And if I had a piece of paper and it was like, take the test, I could answer. I could go boom, boom, boom.
She knows.
But then right now I'm questioning myself and going, wait.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. You have it.
But I guess if they needed to, I guess actually what it would come down to, not necessarily in this case, but like say they say like an investigator in Maryland gets the approval, everything, they have whittled it down, like done the whole tree, and they're on that step of going to go knock on someone's door and have a conversation with them, kind of deal. And I guess if the need would come up, then just to say they provide, like, I don't know, if there was some sort of questionable or weak kind of point, questionable piece of evidence within their investigation, like maybe then if that third party was willing to provide their DNA to literally show that this is a match. Like, even though that little piece of hair that they found in my house only is similar to the suspect that y'all think it is, here is the proof that, like, while we're all connected.
Proof positive.
Yes. And then at that point, if they wish to use that third parties, they would get the warrant then. Not that that third party is in trouble for anything, but for the process. You know what I mean? They would have to have approval to be able to utilize that DNA in an investigation. Okay. Well, this is like going to school.
Are you okay? You good? Because I want you to be. I know that you know this because you've been educating me for the last couple of days. So I'm not concerned that you know it. You've done your homework. Oh, criminality is covering all the good cases.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you can.
You read my mind, please. You're doing Koberger stuff.
Hold my beverage. Hold my beverage. Let me go. Hell yeah. Can she come up?
Yeah, I literally was about to ask her to, because I know this is where she's going to come in. And y'all, please, if whatever we post, or if I make a mistake in these spreadsheets and stuff, or you think maybe I need to relook at something, please tell me, because I would rather be like, y'all, you know what? I thought I had that right, but I don't.
Punksy, thank you. Thank you so much. That was really kind. I love you. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate that.
That's I see it now. I thought I saw it.
Thank you for your support, love.
But I was about to say, feel free to like check out the overview of this, because
I'm going to put it in the groups, and I'll put it in Criminality's group too, if she's okay with that. And
but she's going to come up here and clarify it in like 3 to like 6 sentences.
In Teresa time, which I love. Hi, welcome to Decipher.
You beautiful people. I love you guys so much. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you.
Oh my God, I love you. And you are kicking ass and taking names. And if you are not subscribed, to Teresa, get your butts over and get in Criminality and participate.
Yeah, you guys are crazy. No, I wanted to. I haven't got to see the whole thing, so I wanted to tell you, number one, Tia, I thank you so much for being at the trial, and I've been retweeting all of your tweets and sharing your live you did last night. I'm going to share this one too, because I mean, I don't want people to not remember Rachel at all. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's what happens when these court cases are just so private ties, like where the public can't access what's happening. So I'll do whatever I can to share all of your info that you guys have. So number one,
and you worked on Rachel Morin's case with us in the very beginning. You were all in too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I were on the phone at 3 a.m. Yeah.
We were mapping shit, finding houses. Like it was we were crazy deep in Rachel's case. So I'm thankful that you are boots on the ground and that we have somebody who's reporting from the inside that we know and trust. So thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to come up and say is, LFT, you're second guessing yourself, and you shouldn't, because you know exactly what you're talking about. So I just wanted to tell you that on the genealogy stuff. So I wanted to tell you that. So the biggest thing about the genealogy stuff is about the privacy of the people that are registered with companies that are not technically allowed to be used by law enforcement. The problem with all of that, as you know, is the law enforcement's using it anyway, because there's not laws that are regulating all of this stuff.
Yes.
So there's nobody getting in trouble for using the databases that they're not supposed to use on the law enforcement side, because it's just based under like policies and procedures versus like violating job codes or violating laws. So, but yeah, what you were saying though is 100% right. It's so the privacy comes to the people that are already in the database, not the suspect, not him. He left his DNA at a crime scene. He's relinquished all of his rights to it.
Yeah.
And then they can. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is, because you were like, are they going to go like knock on people's doors? They can go knock on somebody's door if they want to try to get a closer match.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tricky thing though. So like say, like I know, like you're my suspect, and I put it in, and I get your great 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 grandmother, you know, up the tree, and she's got 15 kids, because, you know, everybody was popping out all these kids back in the day. So you have hundreds of people in your tree, and I don't really know where your DNA falls into it. I can go and get like your third cousin's DNA, go ask them, like, hey, can I would you mind putting yours in the database, so I can see more closely how this suspect relates to this family tree? See what I mean? And then that person can say yes or no. Now, this is where things also get tricky. Are cops actually just going and taking things from those people that they shouldn't be, like trash, because, you know, that's people can test it, things like that. Like, are cops doing that?
I mean, my guess is probably some are. I'm going to stick with the state of Maryland right now, and that they follow all their protocols and laws. So we're going to go with they don't do that.
Right.
No, but I'm sure that people do. But how? And my question is, how procedurally do they log that information?
Tips. This is kind of the generic. We received a tip to go and check out. So let's say Tia, your LFT's, you know, fourth cousin, I think, and so I want to find out like where, or, you know, LFT's my suspect, so I want to find out where you fall in the family tree, so I can better figure out who my suspect is. So do I go and take your trash and then just say, like, somebody gave me a tip to go look at you and cover my bases? I got an anonymous tip to go look at Tia, so we grabbed her trash, put it in, but it's the wrong cousin. And, you know, I'm like, I'm sure they could cover their shit by doing stuff like that. Okay, I hope that they're not, but is there any ramification for doing it?
I would. Here's the thing that. Well, I was going to say, here's the thing that I question is when we get to court. Then, if you have someone who's like a decent attorney for your defendant, and they say, you know, you have to be certified in this, and this, and I need the chain of command. How did you get this? You're saying that all they have to say is we got a tip, and they don't have to do anything more to follow any chains of commands, because it's, you know, it can be anonymous. And I just answered my own. Thank you.
And that, I mean, it's kind of creepy, but I mean, I think that that's absolutely possible. It shouldn't be, but I think that it is.
Well, and here's the other thing I was going to say. In Tia, that link, that whatever, you know, law 17-102 FGG investigations, y'all, it does say in here, it established there are punitive damages. That, I mean, that you do get, their law set up, like if it's misused or not obtained, if investigators determine that one or more persons, why do they use language that's so big that we don't know those words? Hold on. But it looks like there are laws. Like there are, when it comes to law enforcement investigations, if they break a protocol or break, you know,
a procedure.
And I guess essentially that's kind of almost like falsifying a part of their investigation or being dishonest about it. Their regulations around that, like how they're penalized and what can happen. Like, and if they don't destroy the DNA of those third parties, like they can get in trouble then.
Well, so like an example, like for the Idaho 4 case, because obviously that's another big IGG case right now, right? So if like the FBI's, you know, policies and procedures is to say not to use databases. I'd have to go back and look at the actual wording of it, but like not to use databases that are not approved for law enforcement. But it's worded like a, you know, if necessary kind of thing. Like if you can avoid, and I don't, like I said, I need the exact terminology, which I don't remember, but it's more like if you can avoid it, please avoid it. But there's not really a policy against it. It's just avoid it if you can, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So that's
Gotcha.
what happened in the Idaho 4 case, is the FBI used databases that are not law enforcement approved.
That makes
Wow.
a lot of sense. Okay, I understand that now. Okay.
And I
But
just
there's
put something in the
there's
back
nothing
chat.
But
wrong
that's
with
going
it.
to be a problem then for.
No, because there's
Okay.
nothing wrong with it. Because there's no law against it, and the FBI's policies and procedures don't say that they're not allowed to. And now both sides have said they're not even all this IGG talk in Idaho 4, they're not even going to bring up in trial. Both sides have submitted motion in limines to keep IGG out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. So are they going to talk about the IGG or FIGG in Rachel's case in court?
To be honest, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. We're covering it because we know that's how it was used. Right. But I don't know if the court, if they're using that in court. I don't know, and I don't even want to speculate, to be honest with you.
We just know that the defense is questioning it.
Yeah,
Sure,
I don't
right?
know. I don't know. I just, I mean, they're questioning the DNA, saying he wasn't even in Maryland. So, it'll be interesting to see, since he was never in Maryland, how his
belongings and DNA got on his belongings in the state, and his DNA was on the victim.
And both here and California.
He said there he wasn't in California either.
Well, he hasn't said California, but I'm waiting for him just to say.
Okay, so then
he wasn't there.
I don't know. Was he staying at in Maryland? Wasn't he staying? Your memory is going to be better than this on mine because haven't talked about this case for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Not a hostel, but wasn't he staying at where was he staying in Maryland? Let's just go that route.
He was staying with family initially. He left family and came north to Harford County and was staying with people here.
So he doesn't think any of those people are going to testify that he stayed with any of them?
I don't, to be honest with you, because I'm just Joe Blow in the courtroom. I don't know who's on the witness list. They don't publish it.
Yeah. You can go to the docket, but you can't see. You can see like file
there's
names
documents in there, but I don't know who's. I don't know who's on the witness list, and so that makes covering the trial even more interesting because just like everybody else, I'm sitting there going, I have no idea what to expect. I know who's coming. I know what's coming up this coming week as far as 2 days, but after that, I have no idea. I'll put them in the back chat for you.
Okay. The link that LFT that you dropped in the back chat, I can't get it to work. I don't know if that was for me or not.
Oh, sorry. I sent it for both of y'all. It was just, I'll put it. It's just the part of the Maryland Code of Law when it comes to where it's talking about
FGG.
the FGG's investigations, and it was judicial authorization required, contents of sworn like it just breaks it down, and then it was showing stuff about like informed consent, and then also like what if it. I was just sending it to y'all to be like, this is maybe where I get caught up in my underwear again, because it's almost like in my head, I think I'm taking it a step further, being like, okay, well, what if this happens? Like,
right. We don't what if it yet. Just read the rule and go by it, and don't add any circumstances to it, and you'll remember it.
Yeah,
Does that
you have
make
a beautiful
sense?
spreadsheet already going. So, all right. Yeah. I just wanted to hop up and say that to you guys. It was way easier to tell you guys that than try to type all that stuff in chat. So I just thank you for letting me come up really quick.
So wait, before you go, what are you working on? Tell everybody.
Well, I haven't been on YouTube for about a week because kids have had back to school nights and parent-teacher conferences, and then my niece's birthday party, my sister-in-law's birthday party. So I haven't really worked on a ton of stuff. We have, I have a ton of documents that we've been going through for Idaho 4. So it's currently when I get back, I'm going to finish doing that. And then Karen Reed is her second trial is starting. They're doing jury selection right now, so covering that. We'll probably cover that trial. I'm also trying to slide in some Lori Vallow-Daybell. Her jury is selected and opening statements start on the 7th. So I don't know if I have enough time for all of that, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Wait, T, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
About Karen? Can I ask you a question about what?
Not me. T, not Tia. Sorry.
Hey, the people I look up to. Hey, y'all, can I ask y'all a question? The T on the bottom. What do you? I have to give you credit for this. I think did I mention this? Nope, I mentioned this on the phone to someone else. I had to give you credit for this because when it comes to Karen Reed, I kind of go back and forth. I'm curious what your thought is, but I want you to know this. During her first trial, watching that all play out, because I didn't watch it, religiously, but knew enough of it. And I was like, criminality taught me. Like, this is in Tia, like that light bulb moment for you. Like, I had to go by, like, based on what the state presented in that first trial during Karen Reed, I said they didn't prove their case. If I was a juror on that thing, I couldn't have said yes. But it was you that, like, it was like, okay, you got to put emotions aside or not consider this. Was it presented during the trial? Like, I was thinking of you the whole time.
Aw, that's tough though, because sometimes you are like, this person, like, I know, like, when, I don't know if you guys follow, like, how much of, like, the Stephen Stern stuff you guys follow. Like, I think that guy's a piece of shit. And so,
no
like,
question.
I use him as an example a lot because I'm typically like, I don't really give a shit what happens to him in prison. I don't give a shit what happens to him in jail. And he's absolutely innocent until proven guilty, but my emotions get in the way of it. So, like, there's nothing they could present to me in a trial that I'm going to be like, let that guy go. Like,
that's Victor to me. That is absolutely how I feel with Victor. Like, there's nothing you can bring to me that I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think Victor's the guy. I agree with you on that too. So it's like, it's really hard. I think for, like, Karen Reed, because I didn't follow I knew of all the stuff, but I didn't follow a ton, like, deeply, and wasn't, like, overly attached to either side. It was very easy to go into that trial like that because I knew the history, I knew the two sides, but I really was just undetermined until trial. So, like, even, like, going through trial, I was like, I can just hang out and listen to this and make up my own mind. Delphi, a little bit different because you guys know I was, like, way knee deep in that.
Oh my God, you were waist deep.
Yeah, I still sat on the fence, and obviously the trial was hidden, so we had to just go off of what we were told on social media. And what we were told on social media, I have no idea how they convicted him. Now, that doesn't mean I think he's factually innocent necessarily, but I absolutely do not understand how he got a guilty verdict besides just the shadiness of the prosecution in the state of Indiana. And there's so much corruption and incompetence in that I don't feel good about a guilty verdict, whether people think he did it or not. Like, it doesn't feel
I can appreciate that.
I find it interesting because when I was watching about a week and a half ago, whatever it was, when you and Sleuthie were doing your thing, and by the way, I love your mapping because mapping is my most favorite thing. So I know it's your least favorite. I love to map. And okay, so I think Kohberger's the guy, right?
I do.
And I'm going, I think Kohberger's the guy. But then you're mapping around and all of a sudden, you're like, where'd he go? And I'm like, I don't know. Where, Teresa?
No. It's funny because I got messages after that live and people were like, do you think he's not the guy now? And I was like, no, I do. I think he's the guy, but I think I don't know if I trust the state of Idaho here. Yeah. And that's kind of hard for me because I think he's the guy. I really do think he's the guy. There's people who are adamant that Bryan Kohberger is absolutely innocent and he's being railroaded, which is fine. People can think that. I think he's the guy. And I think that there's still a possibility that he could be being railroaded. And so that was like a conundrum for me because I'm like, you can't prove that. Like, but is a jury going to see it that way? Like, are they going to look at a map like that and go, yeah, where the fuck did he go?
It
Like,
was,
how do you get him from here to here, but you never had him? You have all these cameras that you say are tracking him, and you put him from A to B, or you put him from A to C, but your camera on B never finds him.
right.
Like, how you can't. I'm all in that he's the right guy, but you can't convince me that you are sure that A and C are the same.
That's what made me
Listen,
think
that
of you.
was such a good live. I was actually in my kitchen. I think I was making dinner, and I literally dropped everything, turned the stove off, and rewound it, and was like, I'm talking to you like you can hear me. I'm like, yeah, where did he
Yeah,
go?
I did hear you, by the way. I could totally hear your voice when you were saying it in chat. You're like, where did he go? Teresa, where is he? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, Tia. I don't know where he went.
It was the craziest thing.
So unless they're
But that's
gonna,
what
this is just what they put in like the motions. So unless they have something that's gonna be bigger, that they have to be able to put it all together come trial, because I don't see it from the motions to say that that's absolutely him. And then one of the next ones, which if you guys follow Idaho, I don't know how close you guys follow it or not, but Cy Ray, who's huge in the forensic digital world, just put in like 2 major affidavits talking about the software they used to track him and how there's absolutely information the state did not turn over, and he knows it because he's the one who created the software that they fucking used.
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, oh shit. So like that's where I'm like, oh God, I don't like, is the state gonna screw this up and then you're gonna have, I don't know. But then the bottom line is that juries just like to convict. So does it matter? I mean, does it matter in the long run? Because juries just like
It matters during an appeal. Your appeal attorney will handle
Right.
that.
But that's years away. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't like that cops can just be shady and do whatever the hell they want to do and there's no repercussion. I struggle with that.
I agree.
And then and prosecutors are just dirty people most of the time, and they're not really just looking for. And the more we do watch, and which I think is why they're trying to hide some of this shit from us, is because they don't want us to see what's going on in these states. Like, why isn't a trial like Rachel Morin being streamed, even on a judge's camera on YouTube? You know what I mean?
Maryland, because it's a Maryland thing. Maryland doesn't stream any of their trials.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
I agree.
In Maryland.
I agree.
Indiana was the same way. They only changed that policy beginning of 2023, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then ironically, Judge Gohl, who was on the Delphi case, was one of the big advocates for putting cameras in courtrooms.
I would love to have a camera in the courtroom. I think, I think for Rachel's case, I shouldn't just say Rachel's case. That's not a fair statement, but because I love this is my heart case. I would love it because it speaks to so many different things in the political arena as well. There's laws being placed, with her name on it. And, I think people need to understand too, some of the things that happen, like you were just talking about how we got to A to B. We know that C is the answer, but you have to get that B part. And we don't know that until the trial. And I think that's the interesting part that people want to hear. And they're hearing it third hand through interpretations through like me, who I may not understand everything. So I write down every single word said in the courtroom and hope to God I'm writing it correctly so that when I interpret it to others, you know what I mean? Because Maryland makes me crazy with the not streaming cases. I know it does. It absolutely does. The press was having a hard time because they couldn't get in on the jury selection. They were having a hard time. Personally, I didn't have a care in the world about that because I don't care who gets chosen. I care, or who doesn't get chosen. I care who gets chosen. So, the people that didn't get chosen, I don't need to watch them. That doesn't make a difference to me. Throw my jury up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I can agree and disagree on that too. I mean, I have points for and points against it. I mean, it's tough because there's no ultimate decision based off of it, but it does it's an interesting insight to be able to learn during jury selection, people's occupations, the relatives, like, hey, my dad's a retired cop. You know, and like kind of just get like an idea of who's making the decisions. You know, Karen Reed's funky like that because, you know, there was a lawyer that was on the jury, ended up being an alternate, and now she's actually part of Karen Reed's legal team.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I did hear about that. That is insane. Um, our jury, like I just, you know, saying my prayers and hoping to God they see what everyone else sees. A lot of them know each other. This is a small town. Um, it is what it is.
Do you know the jurors?
I
Don't tell me
don't
who they
know.
are.
I don't know any of them.
Oh, okay.
I don't. But there was a news article put out that 12% of them knew each other.
Oh, that they know like the ones
Mhm.
that ended up on the jury.
I think so.
Damn.
It's a small town.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I hope our kids are doing okay. That's the most important thing for me.
yeah.
That's tough, you know. 2 of them testifying right off the bat.
They did it for timeline purposes, and they were. Oh God, I cannot
They always
tell
do
you
that.
how.
Trials start with proof of life and typically end with cause of death.
Okay.
And that's pretty, I mean, if you watch a lot of trials, it's the typical of it.
Yeah, yeah. You're now. Warnock just ran through my head, and you're right. They were badasses. Rachel and their fathers have done an amazing job with them. They are incredible young women who sat up there and fought for their mother and spoke for their mother, and they were incredible, and they were so brave, so beautiful, and I really think that they had a huge impact, and I hope that they're okay, and that's it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I worry. You know, one of them has a birthday this week, so I can't imagine what it's like. You know, dealing with your mom's trial and your
And it's your
birthday.
birthday.
You know, that's really difficult. But my guess is that she will handle herself the way she does every day, like a badass.
That's tough, man.
I don't think I could do what they did. I'm not blowing smoke either. Like I don't know that I could do what they did.
I think when you know that you have to, that you're the one that can do it. You know what I mean? Like you know, you have to do it for your mom. You have to do it for your family. Like you have, you know what I mean?
And they
You're
want
strong.
to.
Yeah, you're stronger than you think you are.
I'm so impressed by their dignity, and their strength, their bravery, their courage, everything that they showed. I'm so impressed by them. I can only imagine, you know, in just a couple years' time, how amazing their, you know, adulthood is going to be and what they're going to wind up doing. But they're really great kids, and it was the first time I ever laid eyes on them.
Aww.
Mm-hmm. Because
how long are they thinking the trial's gonna last?
12 days tops.
Oh, okay. And no Saturdays? Like there's no funky schedules?
Nope.
Okay.
8:30 to 4:30. Actually, it's 9:30 to 4:30. And that judge keeps it moving. I love the judge. She's awesome. Love the state's attorney. Love her. She is all business, and there's no theatrics. She delivers everything with, you know, she's just very poignant, well-spoken, you know, speaking to the jury, letting them know, you know, here's our evidence. There's no fluff, no, you know, it's just, it is what it is. And she's, like I said last night, she has 9 4 to 5 inch binders she rolled in, and the defense has 1.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about it, like, I often wonder, like, defense that's a shitty job. Public defender, that is a shitty job.
Oh, you
And
just have to make sure that your client's constitutional rights aren't violated.
that's
and
it.
Do the best you can. Offer them, get them a plea deal when that's the best thing for them. And if you think they're innocent, then you have to go hardcore.
You have to
Is
go
this
hardcore.
a public defender from a public defender's office, or a public defender like that actually has its own practice, but the state, like, they have to do certain
From the
amount of
public, no,
Yeah.
from the public defender's office.
Oh, okay.
So their caseload isn't any lighter, even though they have
No.
this huge case.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
they have a shitty
and
job.
And they're like
sucks.
3.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. And Victor sitting at the table, and then the interpreter. It's very crowded over there.
He doesn't get to wear like headphones that interpret for him,
Yeah, they do. He does have headphones.
and he has an interpreter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The interpreter speaks through the mic to the headphones.
Nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he was able to no oblo himself through, 3 to 4 states without being able to comprehend English. Okay.
Well, he's been here since December of 2022 and was caught in June 2024. I mean, he had to pick up something. But, he
That's what I was
claims
saying.
All right.
he
My
claims
phone
he
just
doesn't.
starts randomly playing with the stupid YouTube Premium sometimes. I don't know why. I'll be like, it's really awkward sometimes though too. So I apologize. I don't know if you guys heard that or not.
Uh-uh.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your thing. Like I said, I thank you guys. I miss you guys a ton, and I hope that I get to spend some more time with you guys, especially now that Rachel's case is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'll be probably catching lots on replay, but I'll be here as often live as I can.
And we with
Thank
you,
you so
because we just enjoy the hell out of you. You know that. And thank
love
you
you,
so much
ladies.
for coming up.
Oh no,
I went
thank you
in
for
the
letting me.
I approved some people's comments the other day. I was almost waiting to see your face to be like, because I'll go in and listen, but I'm also just like, oh gosh, I don't know if that person's like, and then I'll wait for them to type again. And then one of them, you were like, yeah, so-and-so. And I was like, approved. I haven't been here. So, but I was waiting for you to be like,
Yeah, because like YouTube flags people who say like shit or dickhead or whatever, and then it's like, it wants a moderator approval. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, put that crap in there.
I'm like, approve.
Approve.
They're not calling
Approve.
her anything. They just
Right. All right. Love you, ladies. Thank you. I'm going to go back to chat. I'll be hanging out listening.
All right, bye.
Bye.
okay, well, that's good. That was helpful.
Also, I didn't get to say hello to Dutchie. Thanks for coming in, Miss Madam. We appreciate you being in here tonight. If you are not subscribed to Dutch for the Missing, please, if you do nothing else, go over and share her community posts. Please. They're so important. She does the work for everyone, anyone missing. Any. Arctic Fox is another great missing person channel, but personally, I love our Duchess. I think she's just amazing. So please go over and like a bunch of her videos. Yeah, like a bunch of her videos. Yeah, hold on. Like a bunch of her videos, but it's so important that we share out her missing flyers. I think Decipher needs to be better about doing that, but as a true crime community, we need to, and subscribers can share those things too on their community walls. And yes, of course, we love our Chico's Corrupt Chronicles. She will always have a special place in my own little heart. If you know me, you know that I love Chico and I love her feistiness, but I love her passion for true crime cases and her area. And that is something that I value in Chico. Criminality, obviously. I mean, if you guys have watched me for any amount of time, you know that I was obsessed with Teresa years ago. Teresa's been my personal, I stalked her I love her so much, and I just respect her work. So please, if you go over there, you make sure you are using your best manners, because that's one that I really respect and look up to. She means the world to me. Her work is impeccable, and she'll be the first one to fly up like she did and correct us or impress us, and it's usually both. Uh, anything else I'm missing, Miss Madam? Oh yeah, let's highlight that one. There you go. I was like, wait, did I lose you?
Oh no, I don't. My mic must not be working very well. Yeah, so I muted for a little bit because I kept trying to chime in, but I was agreeing with everything y'all said, so I just muted. I think that was it. Basically, the point is Maryland has more I put the Department of Justice's interim policy, like there's an umbrella kind of central policy that applies to all, but then states mandate and do their own things too. What T, and then like I said, what T and Tia and I were saying was that it's like you are balancing personal privacy with technology, and technology that can be very helpful when it comes to crimes. And so the regulation, everything around it is still evolving, because obviously we know technology. I just couldn't imagine doing this like in 1983. Like, well, they had the same blood type. They're both O's, but we got nothing other than that. Like, I just, how it evolved. So,
but imagine the cold cases that can now be solved thanks to genetic genealogy.
That's true. And so that's where I'm going, like, that's what's so crazy about that. Oh, thanks, Art. That's so nice. What I meant was just that Maryland is someone who was early in the game to accept, like many states,
I was going to say protect.
Yeah, but they were all about accepting and wanting to, like, all about the new tool available as an advancement. But we were one of the first. I think it's Maryland. I think it's Maryland, Montana, and Utah. I believe maybe the first three. But Maryland, like, I think they even did things that were stricter than those two states at times, but they were the first ones to put more judiciary regulation around it and protocols and things. And it's just ironic that it's funny for me as an outsider looking at it that the defense, a big part of it is that he says that he didn't do it, and he's got right to say it, but the defense says, well, that may not, like, it could be anyone's DNA. I mean, the fact that they said we're talking about Tobin, where's his DNA? Are we okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
I don't know. Maybe she showered. I have no idea.
That would be my guess. Or maybe his DNA had been in there too, but I got news for you. If you've got that guy's DNA all over her, and his and Tobin's is only in one spot, and there's nothing else that's Tobin and Victor DNA together or anything like that, I think you call us, like, this is where reasonable doubt and common sense and within the lines of the eyes of the law and the lines of the law come into place. It ain't him. And if it, that would be a different battle, and they didn't have to battle that, because that's not how the evidence, substantial evidence, flowed. And so I just think it's kind of funny, because I just wanted people to understand, like, Maryland actually has more regulation than potentially some other states. And it is very important when you analyze, especially when you go through criminal cases like this. And like Teresa was saying too, like, certain people use it for appeal pieces. I mean, there's always going to be something, but it's just ironic to me that a big part of this case in particular, I for the defense itself seems to just be about questioning procedural issues and the reliability of DNA in a state that has put a pretty good fence around what they allow and how they do things. There's a pretty tight fence around that others, potentially other states, may not have. And I'm just assuming that everyone goes by the law, especially in this case. I just find that a bit ironic. And I just think it's important that people realize too that there's a lot of law and regulation behind this forensic tool, and it's just kind of it's a bit ironic in my opinion with like the defense and the I just think
I agree, Wheel. I agree, Wheel. And you know what's interesting is I heard someone say in some of the videos I've been watching to learn, and things that I've been reading and etc. But 85% of Western Europe has already put their they've already done their genealogy. So by that's really loud, whatever you're doing. By that, we as Americans, those could be our fourth cousins, but they could still bring in, a case.
Well,
85% of Western Europe just blew my mind.
And that's why I sent you that. I don't know if y'all need something to watch or background music. The 48 hours posted on YouTube. It's like
I watched it.
Yeah, and I was like, how
that may be where I got that may be where I got that information from, by the way.
But in that, I was just like, the irony that even popped up right before this all started up again. Like, I was just like, but I was like, you need to watch this, because this, I think, essentially, that's basically what happened. Other than, that girl, she did. Like, if I had submitted mine and someone knocked on my door, I probably would have done the exact same thing. Like, of course. Like, and she was genuinely interested in it. But, like, that process is essentially, it's very similar into, like, how they use it and how useful and resourceful it is, and especially if it's done legally. But just so y'all know, we really did, like, oh, you can't see that. Hold on.
What are you doing?
I cannot tell you yet.
Ooh, a minute and a half to go.
I know, it's 64. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of rooting for Auburn this afternoon too.
So is my husband. I think that's his overall. Please tell your daughter we said hello, Delina, and of course tell my nephew that I love him and that I will.
Hear all of our
notes. My gracious! Yeah, this is what she sent to me. By the way, these are the things. Yeah. In my binder. It's my court binder.
Hey, y'all, y'all don't know if y'all can see the game back there.
Yeah, you see it. I'll turn on my camera so you can see.
Sorry, I'll just do it.
Court binder.
But, and I don't know. I did sleep well the past 2 nights, so I'm not on my game. Oh wait, here's another one. We forgot this one. Add these papers to it. But yeah, that was all this is everything. And by the way, these were the things I was sending page by page when I could have put it through a freaking feeder.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Oh, and please join our Facebook page, because we're going to put a lot of this stuff in there so you can gloss over or study whichever you're into. We like to put our proof out there. And like I said, LFT worked really, really hard on this. So we will I'll probably post this on X and in our Facebook group. I feel like whoever lived with him has to testify, and also his employers in Maryland. We shall see. I mean, do I agree with you? Yes, but I truly have no idea who's testifying at all. I 100% agree with you, Missy. I really do. I know there's a few people, but I really have no idea. I agree. She did do a great job, Lady V. Thank you.
No.
And thank you, Wheel.
I appreciate that. I know. I'll own it. I'm not on my game right now tonight, but tonight did make me realize like things like this sometimes too. I guess maybe where I can get my practice sometimes while you're in the courthouse is practicing doing like those little shorts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like listening to my voice. For the record, y'all, I don't go back and listen to things that I'm on, unless it was like back in March a year ago and I had to. But I don't do it. But I do think that's interesting. I'm sorry. I just wanted to. Oh, sorry. I hit my. That was not on purpose. Apparently, my microphone picks up all the background noise, but not my voice. But I did think that was kind of interesting too about that. Having his relatives or the connections to Maryland. You would think almost like the defense would want to, like, call a witness.
I mean, they may be. I don't know. I truly don't know. They may be. Like I said, I don't know the strategies. It's so interesting to watch. Like I said, I am enthralled in the case, but I'm also enthralled by watching the law unfold in front of me. I really am. It's not just hearing the case details. For me, it's watching justice happen, and I'm part of that in that room. That is interesting to me. Being able to view that and not just read about it. And I realized that I truthfully did not. Hi, Princess. Thanks for popping in. I really didn't realize how much I enjoyed watching trials. Basically, I think until Murdoch. And I was sold then, and I mean, have been. I obsessively watch trials now. I watch old trials that I already know the verdict to, but to watch justice unfold and how it's a chess match in the courtroom. And I really think Murdoch's a great case for that. If you're looking to watch how, you can maneuver a chessboard in a courtroom, I think Murdoch was a great way of doing that, using the law to your advantage and using the law, to take someone down. That was a great case. I don't know if she was there. I would think if she has to testify, she probably wasn't there, Delana. But if she doesn't have to testify, I don't know who she is. The courtroom is packed, so it's tough to tell who's with who. So I'm really, I don't know. I have no idea. I kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of keep to myself, take my notes, and observe.
Well, there was something else that I noticed that Criminality said that I just realized, and
what's that?
Was when she was saying what sucks, like with Delphi. What sucked about that is that it wasn't streamed or broadcast. They had to go back to the updates from the media and the stuff, and obviously, I guess the files that were documents and stuff that were available. But that's what they had to do. They had to go based on the recaps of every day, and this, I guess, that's what Tia's doing. So
that's why I'm trying to make sure that I take down all the words. So that
but I meant that makes, you, the news, like you become that source that people can turn to. And as much as we're always going to be mindful of the work that we put into it, the boundaries we've set and whatnot, this time it's, even if they're like, if there's a detail that we typically wouldn't share this time, unless local media, there and Maryland is reporting everything. It's platforms like this with people who attend that come out and recap the day,
Mm-hmm.
and that I think.
Well, I'm
that's
trying
what
to
you're
do
doing.
it. I'm trying to do that, and I do agree with you. I'm also trying to keep in mind there were things discussed in court that I didn't feel I needed to report on because it didn't have any bearing on the story. And so sometimes you have to make privacy. Any news on reporters tried to interview you yet? Well, funny you should mention that. Should I say something or should I not?
It's your thing.
It's
That's
our
up to you.
thing. No, it's our thing.
It's Tia's no, it's Tia's thing. It's her opportunity, and it's a great one. And yeah, she has opportunities. Yes.
I got an opportunity I got an invitation to panel on Ashley Banfield on Monday night. So we will see if that happens. There's a lot of trials starting, so perhaps I'll get bumped. Don't know, but 10 o'clock on. I got a call yesterday asking if I would like to be on Ashley, who, how cool. I think it's very cool. Our little podcast will be mentioned on Ashley Banfield. So I don't know what the talking points are. I don't know anything about it other than, would you like to come on and hang out with us? And I was like, yeah, cool. I would. I really, really, really would. And so we're going to talk about our little podcast, and I assume Ashley Banfield is hot. She is hot. She is so hot. I agree with Wheel. I think she's very beautiful. So we're going to see. We're going to see how that goes. We're going to talk about whatever she wants to talk about and see, what happens. So Monday night at 10 p.m. And once I know more, we will post it. But I think it's a great opportunity for I didn't like her when she was in Dallas Fort Worth. I always had a crush on her. Oh, she is. I know. So I was waiting to tell Mallory because she's not here right now, but hopefully she'll hear this later. I wanted to tell her personally because I just did. And I think it's going to be fun. I hope that something positive comes out of it, whatever the subject matter is. We're going to try and keep it on the positive side and hope that something positive comes out of that. So yeah, I'm sure she's got questions about court, and I'm going to have to navigate the correct answer without giving too much information. I don't know. I have no idea how to do this. I've never done this before. We'll see. Hopefully I don't make a big jerk out of myself. That's the only thing I can say.
I think you'll be fine. I think it's great, and I'm sure people will guide you and you'll know what to do, but I think it's awesome.
I think it's awesome for Decipher, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm grateful that they're going to be talking about Rachel because she's the important one here, right? She's the one who we're speaking about. So we're going to keep it to her. She's the important. I don't want this to be like another case that's out there. I want to make sure that her name and face are the priority. So anyway, are we good? Are you finished, or would you like to go on? Do you have other points you want to make? I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, no, I think we got everything. It was sporadic and whatnot, but Tia was nice enough to kind of take the screenshots, and we'll post those 2 pages, or whatever we need to of the document. That just helps explain it, because it's just it's a pretty, I think, crucial component to this case, and it's just ironic. I don't know how much detail they'll go into it, but I think it's important to realize.
I think it's important to understand it. I really do. I think it's important to understand it. And I think the way you laid it out is going to be really, it's awesome for me, I know, but for others, maybe in future cases even, to have that tool available, to look at, I think is really helpful. So thank you for doing it. And thank you for doing all the hard work on that.
Spreadsheets aren't so hard. They're just time consuming.
You are the queen of them. That is for sure. We may do the research together, but she does do the work on the spreadsheets themselves. I remember there was a guy in the news that said he found Rachel. I don't remember his name, but it wasn't Evan. Did you see that at the beginning? Yes, it was Johnny Blackhawk, who Evan was with a girl. That girl is Johnny Blackhawk's stepdaughter. So Johnny was there on the trail with his stepdaughter and Evan, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've been, yeah.
Yeah. And things were definitely convoluted in those early days with that coverage of all that. And by the, I don't care. Our video, everything's still up. He came on ours, and we have clear, we are very much aware of that confusion and whatnot. And we've acknowledged that. We've talked it through. It's been, even Tia said it the other day, or that was explained in court. The way we handled it, I feel 10 times better about, based on what you said happened in court and how they explained it. I was like, it was just, we understand, we get.
People were saying he wasn't there. People were saying this, that he was there. He did not actually see. Wow, he's crazy. He is crazy. You're absolutely right. He is crazy. Hi, Aussie, beautiful Aussie. He's totally crazy. He'll be the first to tell you he's crazy. But he was there. He did not actually see Rachel, but he was definitely at the scene during that time. So I need to clarify that. What else, Miss Madam? I'm just trying to make sure we covered everything. And do we want to do the body cam footage tomorrow night, do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
If there's time, sure, but I think I know you've got a big week coming up, so I know that you're trying to get a lot done today so that you could kind of have a day to to kind of relax a little bit tomorrow. So do you want to see how your day goes, or morning and stuff? And then if you're up for it, I would rather you just, I'm all about it, but I just want to make sure that you are settled.
Yeah, I mean, going through that body cam footage is kind of easy. There's not a lot of research we need to do about that. It's just watching and covering it. So I think it'll be okay, but it just depends on, how you're feeling and how I'm feeling. And we will get back to you and make sure that I find that again, this is something else I watch in my free time, body cams. Does anyone else watch those? Because I have loads. I am subscribed to loads of, police body cam videos. I find them very interesting. Oh, thank you, Loki.
All right, I need nobody move for the next 19.6 seconds. I'll
Is
tell
that
y'all when I'll tell y'all when you can move.
yeah, but that could be like three.
Shit.
That could be like 3 minutes, couldn't it?
If they play like the Tar Heels do back in the day, they could be. Could be.
Thank
talk
you,
to me
Loki.
when you see Marvin Williams and all those guys come back to beat Duke with like 3.2 seconds left on the clock. By the way, I'm on the news for that one. Well, I'm behind the bench. Okay, y'all. Houston is up 1-1 with 17.2 seconds. Tia, you're right. It could take 3 minutes. I was just kidding. I guess
I told you.
I guess I have to pull for ACC. Like, I mean, at this point, I can have respect for Duke, but
Oh, Lady
pardon
B,
me.
that's very kind.
Sorry, y'all. I just on a tangent.
She's
North
having a good time
Carolina.
over there watching the game.
It's muted, and I just put my glasses on so I can actually see. But I know everyone's watching. I mean, I really was rooting for Auburn, but I have to tell you, it's really hard for me when it comes to Duke because when it gets to this kind of point, they're the ACC, and I got to pull for that. But sometimes they make it so damn hard.
I'm over the
yeah.
rain, Delana. My yard is so soggy, and we cut our grass last week for the first time. And with the sun and the rain this week, it has grown to like feet high again. My husband is having a conniption fit that he can't go out and mow it because it's so muddy. And then it started raining again today. So he was like, all right, whatever.
And speaking of that, sorry, Chico, when you were in here, or Tia and I were talking about the weather and stuff earlier, I hope everyone in the area of the storms and flooding.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry we should have acknowledged something like that earlier, but I hope you're staying
right.
safe and during the day.
Yes.
Because I'm really watching people like kayak down streets and stuff, and I have family in Nashville, and I know that we are getting updates.
Is it messing with your runtime? Yeah. I was watching someone earlier today that, the storms were really, really bad. So I hope that everyone is staying safe. You're right. Thank you for acknowledging that. We probably should have done that earlier on. Please stay safe and do what you have to do to stay safe. YouTube is not that important. You can catch a replay. You don't have to be there live. It's all good. My yard is it's so gross. It's so gross. My dogs, I have little dogs. They come in and they're like, up to their bellies. What?
Holy crap. I think Duke's about to lose. Y'all, there's 2.5 seconds. What? All right. Mr. Dash, what do y'all think? We're down by 2 with 2.5 seconds. Oh, they're done. Well, holy Hannah.
Score?
68 to 66, or wait, what was it? 69 to 67. I took my glasses off.
I don't know. You're running numbers that.
You'll ever get in that mood, or like in the night where you just have so much, like 68 to 67. Houston's up by 1 with 2.5 seconds left. And if whoever wins ends up playing, I can't believe it, Florida. But I'll be danged. I really didn't see this. And I don't even care. Do you know what I mean? In my other point, this is what I'm saying. I feel like I just need to go for like a run right now. Do y'all ever just get like that kind of just like, I don't even know what to do. Just I need to go for a run. I need like go to the gym.
No. I'm going to be honest with you. Nope. That feeling does not come to me. Nope. Not with my knees. Nope. I feel like if I'm running, you all should run because someone bad is chasing me. You don't want to be around. If you see me running, go in another direction. Something bad is going down. The zombie apocalypse is actually happening if my big butt is running down the street. Go run don't ask what's going on. Don't ask if I'm okay. If I'm running down the street, nothing is okay. Nothing good is going to come from me running. I have new knees and I don't want them impacted.
Will, did they just put an extra, Will or Tomboy, did they just put an extra second on the clock? I thought we were at 2.5. Why are we at 3.7? I think Duke just blew it though. Then maybe they'll garner their inner Tar Heels and pull off like what we did back in
67-70 final. Oh, you're not ready yet, Delina. You're just not ready yet.
Oh,
they blew it. Oh, jeez.
They're right. 67. Damn.
Well, you run every day. God bless you. I wish I could. Running is the most miserable thing for me, though. I will do a lot of different things, but I don't like to run. I wish I could. I wish I liked it. I've even tried to talk myself into it to say, like, this is fun. This is great. I run every morning, too. I run right to the coffee machine.
I could get on a treadmill, ironically, if I have, like, a great, like, a good playlist. Like, ironically, when I exercise and run and do my stuff, like, it's not necessarily every, like, you know, you're in a spin class kind of music. Like, I think, like, things that get me in my thoughts or keep me thinking or get me on, like, a beat of any kind of sort, like, I'll run to. But I can get on a treadmill and play a good playlist. And then, you know how I'm weird about ending things in, like, even numbers, or it has to be even or a 5 or a 0, you know, that kind of thing. You can push yourself so far.
We have the Peloton, and I have the shoes and the cool outfits and everything, and I just need to get on there. Just need to do it. I need to stop making excuses. It is what it is.
Thank y'all so much for everything.
Yes. Thank you for being here tonight. And thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks to LFT for all the awesome information. We will be back potentially tomorrow night to go over body cam footage. Or it may be another night. We will just see. Thank you so much to our mods who are just the best on YouTube. We are lucky enough to have the mods that we started with, basically, and we are lucky enough to make them our friends. So I'm really grateful for you guys very, very much. And to everyone who's come in and just listened, been in the bushes, what have you. And those who come out of the bushes, we are very grateful for you too.
Yes.
Please go to your favorite creator. Red light therapy is a blessing. I just bought, I was just going to say, close this down, but I just today bought one of those red light contouring things. I did. I can't wait to use it. Love you too, Delina. Please go to your favorite. Yeah, please go to your favorite creator, like a bunch of their videos, leave a nice comment, tell them we sent you, and be kind to each other out there. I'm waiting for Delina to write my closing blessing because it's my favorite thing to end the night with. Love you too, Tomboy Charm. There it is. Okay, cool. Stay blessed. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will catch up with you hopefully tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Thank you.